The couple at the center of this case are Mr. Tsang Weibong and Ms. Kwan Pui Sin. They are committed advocates of free birth, unassisted home births without doctors, midwives, or medical supervision. To them, childbirth is a private, spiritual event. To the authorities in 3 different countries, it has become a matter of risk assessment. And in child protection law, risk adds up. Every past concern shapes how the next one is interpreted. So let's start at the beginning. In 2019, the couple's first child was born at home in Finland. She died in infancy at just 1 month old. There is no evidence of wrongdoing. But in child protection law, a previous infant death is a major risk indicator. The first red flag was this: a documented infant death in the family's history. It doesn't determine future outcomes, but it shapes how authorities interpret later events. Their second child, Lily, was born at home in Finland in 2021. Because the birth was unassisted and undocumented, Finnish authorities required additional proof before issuing a birth certificate. This is standard. Unassisted births require verification to prevent identity fraud, trafficking, abandonment, and false parentage claims. Instead of complying, the family left Finland and traveled to Sweden. In late 2023, Swedish police encountered the family while they were staying in the country without proper documentation. They found a large amount of cash, no clear explanation for the money, no medical records for Lily, and no formal documentation of her birth. Police initially suspected money laundering. Those charges were later dropped. But Swedish child protection authorities assessed the situation differently. They considered Lily's lack of medical care, the family's transient lifestyle, the absence of documentation, and the previous infant death in Finland. Under Swedish law, the threshold for intervention is risk of harm, not proof of harm. A Swedish court issued a care order, placing Lily into foster care. That order remains in force today. This is where the hashtag and Save Lily began. After losing custody of Lily, the couple left Sweden and eventually returned to Hong Kong. In early 2026, they had a third child, a baby boy, widely referred to in media reports as Danny. He was also born at home, without medical supervision. And in Hong Kong, that matters. In Hong Kong, home births are legal. But what comes after the birth is not optional. Under the Births and Deaths Registration Ordinance, every newborn must be registered within 42 days. If the birth took place outside a hospital, the parents must provide evidence of parentage. This often includes DNA testing. Why? Because without verification, the government cannot legally issue a birth certificate. And without a birth certificate, a child cannot access public health care, enroll in school, obtain a passport, and be legally recognized. The second red flag was this: Danny had no legal identity. But the couple refused the DNA test, repeatedly citing privacy and religious reasons. The Registrar of Births has a legal duty to confirm the child exists, belongs to the parents claiming them, and is not a victim of trafficking or abandonment. If the parents refuse to provide evidence, the registrar cannot issue a birth certificate. This is not a punishment. It is a legal safeguard. But the situation escalated when the couple stopped responding to authorities. This was the third red flag: a newborn with no medical care, no documentation, and parents who couldn't be reached. After weeks of failed attempts to contact the family, Hong Kong authorities grew concerned. A newborn with no medical records, vaccinations, newborn screenings, birth registration, and parents who had already been investigated by child protection authorities in other countries. Under Hong Kong's Protection of Children and Juveniles Ordinance, police may intervene if a child may be at risk, be neglected, or require immediate protection. On June 2026, police located the couple in Chung Sha Wan. They arrested Mr. Tsang and Miss Kwan on suspicion of child neglect. Baby Danny was taken to hospital for examination. The case has now shifted from administrative non-compliance to potential criminal liability. Once a child is taken into protective custody, the case moves to the courts. A magistrate must decide, is the child safe? Are the parents willing to comply with the law? Is temporary removal of the child necessary? The Social Welfare Department applied for a protection order. The court placed Danny into emergency foster care while assessments continued. The parents eventually agreed to the DNA test, but by then, the case was already before the court. Once a child protection case reaches the courts, the judge must consider the child's best interests, not the parents' preferences. Meanwhile, the Hong Kong government has contacted the Chinese embassy in Sweden to inquire about Lily's custody status. Swedish authorities maintain that Lily remains under a lawful care order. This is not a diplomatic conflict. It is a cross-border child welfare case governed by each jurisdiction's own laws. And it highlights a difficult truth. Different countries judge risk differently, but past concerns follow a family across borders. This case is not about ideology, religion, politics, activism, or the morality of home birth. It is about risk, identity, and child welfare. Hong Kong law requires that every child be registered, parentage be proven, newborns receive medical care, and authorities intervene if a child may be at risk. The couple's refusal to comply with these requirements, combined with their history in Finland and Sweden, created a situation where the government had no choice but to act. This is not a story of the state versus the family. It is a story of how legal systems respond when personal beliefs collide with a child's right to safety and identity. Every society draws the line between parental freedom and child protection differently. Finland draws it one way, Sweden draws it another, Hong Kong draws it a third. The real question is, who should draw that line and what should guide them? Because in the end, this case forces us to confront a universal dilemma. When does a parent's right to raise their child end, and a child's right to protection begin? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to follow the channel for more.